it's always interesting to see how teams start games defensively against star players. And it was clear from John Shire, we are getting the ball out of Okori's hands at the earliest opportunity. Came off of that dribble handoff. Double team was right there. Okori not ready for it. Quick turnover for the Cardinal.
Starting five for the Blue Devils. Down the lane is Boozer. And the lay-in and the game's first points belong to Cameron Boozer.
Yeah, I mean, Duke goes to Boozer early in the game, forcing the interior defense to make a decision on how they are going to guard him, and it looked like Stanford wasn't prepared for that simple baseline, or excuse me, cut from the free throw line.
Ryan Agarwal for the Cardinal. Shot clock down to 8. Agarwal trying to turn the corner. Gets inside, the reverse. And the rebound grabbed by Cameron Boozer. Here comes Duke and Isaiah Evans. Poked away by Ryan Agarwal, but a reach-in foul called against Agarwal, who went for a career-high 20 against North Carolina on Wednesday.
Yeah, Gumba had a big size advantage over Agarwal. Great job recognizing that, going deep into that post. Agarwal giving up a lot of size, really had no choice other than to go for that steal, ends up getting the hand.
Here's Cameron Boozer spinning, and he's got all four, and the Blue Devils up 4-zip.
Yeah, I don't think that was the game plan defensively on Boozer, to just let him go one-on-one against Young. That is a big size advantage and skill advantage for Boozer. I would expect Stanford to look to double team next time.
Benny Keeler. Here's Oscar Hielte on the block, and the freshman kicks it out. 5 to shoot for Stanford. Agarwal finds an open Donovan Young. Way short on the three, and it belongs to Duke.
And Young has been inserted into the starting lineup due to the injury to Akpara. He came up short defensively there, one-on-one against Boozer, and then that three-point shot. I think for Stanford, a big game and a big opportunity against Duke, and to this point, we have not seen them really settled in the way that they were against North Carolina.
Second straight game, the Cardinal will play without Chisholm Akpara. A lower extremity injury. He is listed as day-to-day for Kyle Smith. And a turnover by Duke. Here comes Abuka Okori. Benny Keeler thought about the three. Okori down the lane. Has it ripped away by Cameron Boozer. Here comes Duke. Caleb Foster in transition. And Foster. And the rebound grabbed by Benny Keeler for the Cardinal.
Well, great defense by the Cardinal on 2 consecutive plays. Okori getting the steal from Boozer, helping from the weak side, and then the steal in transition.
Trying to get it to A.J. Rahosi, deflected, stolen. Here comes Caleb Foster. One-on-one attacks. Missed the layup. Boozer, the offensive rebound and put back.
That was a rebound in transition. You didn't find Boozer, but that was something that Kyle Smith was really concerned about. Second chance opportunities for Duke, the best offensive rebounding team in the ACC, in an area where Stanford has had their troubles.
And at this end, Stanford clearly having trouble with Duke's length.
Yeah, and struggled to getting the ball into Okori's hands.
Benny Keeler missed the three, and the rebound grabbed by Foster, but a foul called against Duke going for the rebound.
Yeah, I think if you're Stanford, you've got to take advantage of the defensive presence that Okori creates. Get the ball in his hand, let Duke double team, and then read what you have on the floor. You have a 4-on-3 advantage, other places on the floor, but you can't go away from Okori.
Ryan Agarwal gets free off the inbound, and he missed from the corner. Stanford out of sorts on the offensive end. Boozer, drop off, and it falls off, and the leader from Malik Brown off the bench for Duke, and here is Okori across midcourt. Broken up by Duke. That's why Abuka Okori can run and get it in the backcourt. Okori trying to drive, and a foul out top, and the first on Caleb Foster.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you are being double-teamed every time you touch the ball, sometimes it's better to just go into an ISO so that you don't bring that second defender. Very few people, Dame Sarr is a fantastic on-ball defender, I still, if I'm Stanford, like that matchup for Okori, him turning the corner, getting into the paint.
Shoot. Drives on Caden Boozer. Inside A.J. Rahosi. And Stanford is on the board. He breaks the seal for the Cardinals.
Great move there by Rahosi. Just a simple jump hook over the left shoulder, but the strong ducking made himself available for an offensive play that was really going nowhere.
That's broken up by Benny Gieler and a steal for the Cardinals. Okori looks to attack. Gets to the bucket, has a shot blocked by Dame Sarr. And it's out of bounds underneath to Stanford. But Duke with a good start. Boozer establishing himself early. It's the defense that Duke really seems to be shrinking the court on Stanford.
Yeah, I think that again, I think all of it is a chess match early in the game to see how one team is going to guard the other team's star player. And I think right now, for Jon Scheyer, the game plan is to get the ball out of Okori's hands. Anytime that there is a pick and roll or an opportunity. I thought that last play with Okori in transition was the first time he's gotten a good look because it was just a one-on-one move. Now, Dame Sarr, that is a different type of length. When they beat Cal, he really held Day-Day Ames in check. A fantastic on-ball defender, and you can see Okori is going to have his work cut out for him with Sarr, a much longer defender than he is accustomed to going against.
And the only team that has really stifled Ibuka Okori this season is Notre Dame. They held him to 7 points in the game. It was the length of guys like Jalen Harrelson, Cole Serta that caused problems for Ibuka Okori, and Duke's got even more length than Notre Dame has.
They do, and I think that will be a big storyline when we talked to Jon Scheyer. You know, I thought maybe they would start Caleb Foster on him, but he really liked having the length of Sarr on him, and I think we've seen it cause a little bit of problems.
We welcome those of you just joining us to Maples Pavilion. It is full. First sellout for Stanford basketball in a couple of seasons, with number 6 Duke making their first appearance on the farm. And Duke up 6-2. Cameron Boozer has all 6 to lead the Blue Devils. And in this game, we have not just 2 of the best freshmen, Austin, in college basketball, 2 of the best players in the country.
I don't think there's any question about it. I think Cameron Boozer is the name that we have heard about for a couple of years now, and he has really lived up to the hype and exceeded it, in my opinion, this season. But Okori is a guy that if you haven't paid attention to Stanford basketball, maybe you're not as familiar with the name. 4 30-point games in his last 7. His last game, 36 points, 9 assists, 1 turnover. He is a fantastic player and a guy to keep your eye on.
And to start for Cameron Boozer is all 6 points for Duke.
Well, he draws the defense anywhere he is on the floor. Just a little bit of an interior opening. He finds it, and then Stanford elects to go one-on-one. That was a mistake, an easy basket in transition. One of the best things Boozer does. Offensive rebounds, live, active, always around the rim, quick to the basketball.
So far in this one, there are the numbers so far as Duke defensively has made it difficult early for Ibuka Okori. And let's face it, Austin, you and I have watched Stanford quite a bit. Stanford can only go as far as Ibuka Okori takes them.
Yeah, it's one of those things. He's averaging 22 points a game on the season. I don't know if Stanford is going to win a lot of games with him only scoring 15, 16 points a game. They need everything that they can get from him. So, of course, if you're Jon Scheyer, you are going to do everything to get the ball out of his hands. Every time he has put it on the floor, there have been 2 Duke defenders. The length of Sarr getting that block there, it has been a tough start for Okori.
And Stanford with a turnover off the inbound. It's lost in the corner. And it goes over to Duke. That's already the 4th Stanford turnover in the first 4+ minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a coach, that is what upsets you as much as anything. When you have a timeout, you draw up a play under out of bounds, sideline out of bounds, and you don't even get a shot up. Stanford really just needs to settle down, let the game come to them a little bit.
Isaiah Evans launching a 3.
had his foot on the line for a two, but that was just a case. His defender had his hands down. Just go right over the top of him.
First 2 points for someone not named Cameron Boozer. And the early 6-point lead for the Blue Devils. Aiden Cameron off the bench for the Cardinals. So is Cameron Grant, and he finds Cameron. Deflected, stolen by Duke. Turnover number 5 for Stanford. Transition. Isaiah Evans missing a 3. Benny Gieler pulls it down. Stanford counters. Ibuka Okori in transition. Foul will get to the line, and it's on Caden Boozer.
Yeah, and you can tell Okori is a smart player. He knows what he is going to be facing all game long in the half court. So if it is coming off of a turnover, it's coming off of a missed shot, he is looking for anything in transition. Smart move by him there. He is as good as anyone in college basketball for a smaller guard creating contact. Lots of times they'll go to that floater game, they'll go to the pull-up game. He loves getting into the body of the bigger defender and drawing fouls.
First point for the freshman. And there are his parents who made the trek from New Hampshire. Charles on the left, Ijama on the right. As Ibuka Okori, who has had 30 or more in 4 of the last 7 games, coming off a Stanford freshman single-game record 36 in the win Wednesday against Carolina. Cameron Boozer backing in on A.J. Rahosi. And the pass underneath, and the lane, Malik Brown. The versatility from Boozer on display.
That's what makes him great. He knows the double team is coming. He sees if it's coming high, low, and he has the patience to make that type of a drop-off pass. Not a lot of players in college basketball will do that.
Okori on a step back. Missed the 3, and the rebound grab, Malik Brown, the Syracuse transfer for Duke. On the drive. The step through the lane, Cameron Boozer.
He went through 3 defenders there. You know, the blow by and then the step through and then the Euro step. I mean, just, you are seeing everything from him.
In and out on a 3 from Aiden Cameron, who's only made 3 threes all season. Step back in the corner. And a miss from Cameron Boozer, so he is human. And Stanford with the rebound. That's deflected.
You just see Duke. We talked to John Shire at practice yesterday. He talked about the importance of getting the ball out of his hands. And mission accomplished here in the first 7 minutes of this game. Okori, other than 2 plays in transition, he has not been able to be effective in the half court. Duke really selling out, getting the ball out of his hands, and the rest of the Duke players not making them pay.
Cameron Grant from deep. And the rebound, Cameron Boozer.
Now, you knock down a couple of those shots, and John Shire might change things up and do something differently, but as long as the other guys for Stanford continue to miss, this is what Okori is going to see all night.
And that was the recipe the other night. Yes, Ibuka Okori went off against Carolina as Caden Boozer lost it out of bounds, and Duke turnover. But Jeremy Dent-Smith, Ryan Agarwal, other guys were stepping up, hitting shots. In fact, Agarwal and Dent-Smith each with 20 points.
Yeah, and career highs for both of those guys. And that obviously is always the question mark with a star player is what are you going to do when he has an off night? Where are you going to go?
Oscar Hielte lost it. Duke in transition. Pass inside to Boozer. Corner 3 on the way. Short from Nicholas Hamenia, the freshman from LA, but kept alive by Duke. Cameron Boozer fouled as he lost the ball going up, and free throws for Cameron Boozer.
Just such a quick first step. Because he's so strong, if he gets a bigger defender on him, he has the ability to do that. Put his shoulder down, drive by, get to the rim. Smaller defender, he's going to look to post him up. But what I've seen early in this game is kind of an answer to what I think is the biggest question mark with Duke, is can they lock in defensively for 40 minutes? There's so many games that we have watched this year as Boozer misses the first, where they get up 10 points and they just become a little content trading baskets with their opponent. But there was a game at Louisville They outscored them 40-20 in the second half of that game, and that showed me the potential defensively of this Duke team. And this is the closest thing that we have seen to that. 8 points, they've only given up 4 points.
1 out of 2, Boozer has 9. And now, as something that's plagued Duke this season is some of the slow starts. Well, Jon Scheyer has to be happy, especially defensively, with where Duke is at to start this game.
Unbelievable. Absolutely. I mean, this is exactly what he would want to see. If you have a game plan and you ask yourself, has it been executed, it's pretty near flawless for the Blue Devils.
Jeremy Dent-Smith lost the ball, diving for it, Patrick Gumba, and the arrow belongs to Duke. Another Stanford turnover, that's 7 in the first 8 minutes and 7 seconds, and Duke is up 9. Well, the story, Austin, has been the defense of Duke. They have suffocated Stanford the first 8+ minutes.
I mean, they really have. Stanford 1 of 9 from the field, 0 of 4 from the three-point line. And I think I have a good handle what good basketball is. And when you have 4 points and 7 turnovers, that's not a good recipe for success. I think that you have to applaud Duke, the length, the athleticism that they have at every position. I think this is the thing that Coach Scheyer has implored his team, is to be the effort on the defensive end of the floor consistently. We have seen it at times, but this might be the best defensive start to a game we've seen from Duke all year.
It's like the line from Fletch. Doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure that out. Even Larry Holmes could.
So you're saying I'm Larry Holmes in this example?
Patrick Gumba. Way on top, Malik Brown for Duke. And the Blue Devils go inside to lay in Patrick Gumba's first points.
Just a clinic on both ends of the floor. The unselfish play at the offensive end, even with Boozer out of the game. Gumba getting the ball in the high-low, just looking effortless for the Blue Devils right now.
7 straight points for Duke. And Stanford just out of sorts, 1 of 9 from the floor. They missed all 4 threes. With 7 turnovers, Abuka Okori, who is being hounded. Jeremy Dent-Smith drives, throws it up off the window, rattles out, and the rebound, Malik Brown for Duke.
Well, that might have been the best look that they have had in their last 6 or 7 tries. It's been a struggle.
Corner 3, way short from Nicholas Humania. Stanford might have gotten a finger on. Benny Keeler cut off in the lane. Jeremy Dent-Smith fires. 3.
And that's what Stanford has to do. When you get a stop, you get out and run every single time. The length of Duke in the half court defensively, I think, is going to be a problem all night. When you can get in transition, suck 1 or 2 defenders into the paint and kick out for 3-pointers, that is great offense. Well done by the Cardinals.
Foul called on Stanford. It's on Benny Keeler. And the first against the senior, but that was the key for Stanford against Duke the other night, or against North Carolina Wednesday. Austin, they made 16 of 28 from 3, and the Cardinal made 10 of their last 13 threes to close the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you are a team that takes half of your shots from behind the 3-point line, if you are struggling there, it's hard to make up that offensive output, which is why the margin for error becomes a little bit bigger the better you play on the defensive end.
For Boozer, that's deflected out by Jeremy Dent-Smith. 10 to shoot for Duke on the baseline.
Yeah, and give a lot of credit there to Gumba. I mean, when you are playing opposite a player like Boozer, you know he's going to draw that double team and that hard front. You got to be able to throw it over the top.
The flip missed by Caleb Foster, and the rebound battled for, last touch by A.J. Rahosi of Stanford, and it belongs to Duke with a fresh 20 on the shot clock. Stanford at 14-4. It's their best start since 2019-2020. And the Cardinal with wins against Louisville and North Carolina already here, plus winning at Virginia Tech. Stanford, in fact, has won each of their last 4 home games against ranked opponents. The last time they won 5 straight first-ranked opponents here at Maples Pavilion, you got to go back to when Mike Montgomery and Trent Johnson were coaching at Stanford. They won 5 straight from March 2003 through February of 2006. Boozer goes to run it down, attacks off the dribble, and the bucket rolls it in with the left hand, and Boozer already with 11 of Duke's 17.
I mean, it doesn't matter what you bring defensively. He's got an answer for it if you guard him one-on-one. Just blew by Young.
And another Stanford giveaway. Caleb Foster headbands. Cameron Boozer, and an offense. No, they call a block. A block called on Donovan Young, and Stanford is first.
The student section behind us absolutely unhappy with this. So let's take another look. Young was absolutely sliding his feet. Good call by the officials. The contact was initiated by Boozer, but I believe it was Young was moving. Good call.
4th Stanford team foul. Ball comes in. Isaiah Evans off the inbound. Long rebound, Cameron Boozer. Dame Sarr down the lane.
The size of Duke causing all sorts of problems. Boozer with another offensive rebound, the kick to Sarr, and Sarr, who's done a great job defensively on a core, he throws down the hammer.
The emphatic spike from Dame Sarr. Danny Keeler trying to get free. Pass inside to Donovan Young. Underneath the kick. Abuko Corey. In and out on the 3, and the rebound, Isaiah Evans for the Blue Devils.
And that was the easiest look he has had tonight on the drive and kick. Nothing falling for the Cardinal.
Foul, the second on Benny Keeler. And 2 shots coming for Duke.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. I mean, Evans is 6'7". Keeler can't stay in front of him, but we look at Sarr off the offensive rebound. Whoa. Take another look at it, right down the middle, and that is the place where you want to attack off of the offensive rebound. The defense not set. Sarr recognition and throwing it down, and you can see why people at the next level are excited about this guy. The length that he has, what he could do on both ends of the floor.
6'8" freshman. One more shot for Isaiah Evans, 87% from the line. And he's been on a tear recently. The last 5 games, he's averaging over 21 a game. He's made 23s in the last 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, he is another special player. Doesn't stop. It's the whole roster full of guys that could do it on both ends of the ball. But for Duke, they have 11 points off of Stanford's 8 turnovers. Stanford only has 7 points in the game.
Jeremy Dent-Smith from way out there. A.J. Rahosi on the offensive glass. And a foul. It's the second on Patrick Gungva. Kyle Smith, his second year on the farm. Previous stops, Washington State, San Francisco, Columbia, and has the distinction of being the last, at least in the Pac-12 as we know it, the last Pac-12 Coach of the Year in 2024 at Wazoo. Cameron Grant, let's fly. 3! That's what he's in there to do. Cameron Grant this year has taken 39 shots from the floor, 38 have been threes.
Well, really what I want to see from Duke is can they have this killer instinct to take a lead from 13 and push it to 20. So many times we've seen them get a 10-point lead and content to just kind of trade baskets. If this is a team that's going to be a front runner for a national championship, put teams away. Sarr takes it to the rim once again. The bigger defender, he turns the corner, draws the foul.
Foul on Grant. Duke up 11 and heading to the line. Well, speaking of national championships, she's won her fair share. That's a legendary Tara Vanderveer, the Hall of Famer, the longtime women's basketball coach at Stanford. Still hanging around these parts. Why would you want to be around the farm? Dame Sarr at the line, and one more coming for the freshman. And the update on our top scorers, the freshmen that we highlighted. Boozer is getting anything he wants right now.
I think that the difference in this is Sarr misses the free throw is that Duke has the ability to throw everything at Okori and say, we are not going to let you handle the ball. We're not going to let you beat you. Stanford can't do that to Boozer. They can't just triple team him when he gets the basketball because Duke has so many other pieces that could beat you. But for Stanford, it's been a struggle for the other guys.
A.J. Rahosi has it taken away. 9th Stanford turnover, but Duke gives it right back to pass behind Isaiah Evans.
Yeah, I mean, and that's an example of what I just said. I mean, Okori had a guy on him, a guy trailing him. There was nowhere for him to go. He gets it to a wide-open Stanford teammate, and the ball stripped out of his hands for the 9th turnover. 9 turnovers in a game in which you only have 10 points. It is going to be a struggle until the other guys take care of the ball.
Jeremy Dent-Smith flies through for the offensive rebound. And here is Ibuka Okori. That's just 2 points from the foul line so far.
And there's 2 guys on him. There's nowhere for him to go.
Step through and spins it in somehow, creating Ibuka Okori.
And that was a breakdown there defensively. Okori had picked the ball up, so the second defender left and gave the opportunity for Okori to actually go one-on-one, but that was a tough shot. We've seen Okori do it so many times.
Tough step back, Cameron Boozer to miss. Ryan Agarwal clears for the Cardinals. Dent-Smith from deep. Too strong in the 3, and the rebound grab by Cameron Boozer.
Again,
already 5 rebounds.
We said this earlier, right? The Duke, once they get up 10, can they put teams away?
A 3 from Boozer is short, and Jeremy Dent-Smith grabs the rebound for Stanford. Inside 6 minutes left in the half. Duke is led by as many as 14 points. Cameron Grant drives baseline. The lay-in missed in the reverse. Only a second 2-point field goal attempt of the season.
If I'm Duke, I'm getting Boozer on that low block. Stanford really hasn't had an answer. Turnover.
Racing ahead, Jeremy Dent-Smith. Down the lane, A.J. Rahosi. Fouled and one.
That is the best look for offense that the Cardinals are going to have. You get a stop, you force a turnover, and you get out and run the other way. Before that set, half-court defense gets in position. Great play by Rahosi. Finish and a foul. And I think that Duke is just, again, I've said it twice, and I think it's what we're seeing. Duke gets up 10, 12, 14. They're clearly in control of the game, and they take their foot off the gas just a little bit. Offensively, I think they're settling for some shots. They're going away from some of their strengths. They know that they can get any shot that they want. But if they're not taking the shots around the post away, if I'm Coach Shire, I continue to go down low.
Rahosi, a 33% foul shooter, missing. He had one free throw. The ball stripped by Ryan Agarwal and picked up by Duke. Caleb Foster, the lob, and trying to finish at the rim, but Cameron Boozer grabs it, powers his way back up and in.
2 offensive rebounds. You give this team 3 tries. Very low probability they miss all 3 of them, and Boozer with another strong finish.
Back to a double-digit Duke lead and a step back. Ibuka Okori, 3.
Just a matter of time before those shots start to fall for him. But again, defensively, that was a shot in the first 5 minutes. Duke would not allow Okori a little bit of a drop-off, and now he's getting one-on-one looks.
Stepping out for a 3. Cameron Boozer answers for the Blue Devils.
I mean, you just look at the shots that Boozer takes in this game. He is getting layups, offensive rebounds, shots right at the rim, or he's knocking them down from the perimeter. Such a difficult guard.
Already 16 for Boozer. Jeremy Dent-Smith drives the lane and lays it in. First points, rather a second bucket for Jeremy Dent-Smith.
And just spreading the defense out, getting a nice one-on-one dribble from the perimeter, and the charge drawn by Okori.
Second foul on Caleb Foster.
Absolutely. Offensively, things are opening up a little bit. Defensively, you're showing some signs of intensity. And a Duke team that looked like there were no cracks in the first 6 or 7 minutes, now you're seeing them slow down. Mention how hard it has been for Rebecca Okori in the half court, how little room he has had to make plays. Double team, he gets rid of it. Not able to get the play down low. Now gets into the paint again. Another double team. As the double team leaves, he finally gets an opening and the strong finish. And off of the high pick and roll, Sarr slips just a little, creates room, and Okori able to get the long two. But it has been a hard time coming for Okori in this first half. His last game, 9 assists, 1 turnover. This game, 0 assists, 2 turnovers. The defense was at another level for Duke in the first 15 minutes of this half, but they have let up, and you're seeing some signs of life from the Cardinals.
And how about the last 2 halves? Cameron Boozer had 17 points, 10 rebounds in the second half in Berkeley on Wednesday. And he's got 16 and 6. As Aiden Cameron stepped on the baseline. Stanford with 10 turnovers now. They average under 11 per game. 8-point Duke lead. There are a lot of dignitaries here. That's Golden State Warriors owner Joe Lacob sitting courtside.
He was just at Cal the other day, wasn't he?
He was? No, he was here actually on Wednesday night. He was watching the Carolina game here at Maples. Joe Lacob, a frequent visitor to Maples Pavilion. Dame Sarr missing from deep, and the rebound flying in for the offensive rebound was Malik Brown, and a foul on Jeremy Dent-Smith of Stanford, his first.
You see the frustration on Kyle Smith. You know, when we talked to him at shoot-around this morning, one of his biggest concerns was defensive rebounding. I mean, that was an excellent defensive stance in the half court there, forcing a contested shot by Sarr, and you just, at every position, the length, the athleticism, just a little bit bigger, a little bit faster for the Blue Devils, and extra possessions to a team that already is playing at the level that they are makes it that much harder, and Kyle Smith knows it.
1 and 1 for Malik Brown, only a 58% foul shooter, and Abuko Okori claims the miss. Stanford's so uncomfortable offensively, and Duke is the reason why. Now Kyle Smith is spacing the floor with 4 shooters surrounding Aiden Cameron. Okori trying to drive on Dame Sarr. Cameron Grant lines it up from the corner, in and out on the 3, and Dame Sarr, the rebound for Duke.
Yeah, that is a great look. And again, we talked about when you run that pick and roll, normally it gets the point guard open. But when teams are doubling, now you're just bringing the extra defender. So Kyle Smith going to an isolation.
Follow slam, Cameron Boozer.
Malik Brown just missed the layup right at the rim, but Boozer never gives up on a play. Another offensive rebound, and 2 of the easiest points Boozer has had all night.
35 points, 17 rebounds in his last 2 halves of basketball.
I mean, it really is impressive. He doesn't take a play off. And another missed shot on a good look for Stanford.
And Boozer has scored the last 6. And an illegal screen out top. Duke with an offensive foul, and it's on Dame Sarr, his first.
Look at Brown with the easy layup, misses. Boozer comes in with the slam. It is going to be a long night for Stanford. You want to win basketball games, keep your opponent off of the offensive glass and don't turn the basketball over. 2 areas where the Cardinals have struggled mightily tonight. And quite honestly, considering the way they struggled in those 2 areas, surprising they're only down 10.
Jeremy Dent-Smith, the floater. And the rebound, another one grabbed by Cameron Boozer.
And these are just shots that have fallen for Stanford.
They were falling against Carolina on Wednesday.
Yep.
Caden Boozer off the window, and the first points for Caden Boozer. Duke is up 12. Then Smith gets inside. Aiden Cammon had it knocked away. And Cameron Boozer forcing a turnover. That's the 11th.
11 turnover. That's unbelievable. You said they average 11
they average
per game on the season. They've got it with a minute to go in the first half.
Isaiah Evans falling down.
And that's a great finish by Evans. We've seen him do it all season long, but the pass by Boozer once again, and Duke has come back to life, up 14.
Tuesday night, ACC Network Men's Hoops doubleheader at 7 Eastern from Littlejohn. Number 22 Clemson hosting NC State. And then we go to Winston-Salem. Boobie Miller and SMU taking on Wake Forest. Great name. Great players. And should be some great games. Tuesday night, the doubleheader. NC State, Clemson, SMU, and Wake. As Andrew Luck, the general, sitting courtside. The general manager for Stanford football.
I was a huge Colts fan playing for the Pacers, and that day he retired was a sad day for the entire city. Shocking news.
Trying to get Stanford football back on track, and they recently hired Tavita Pritchard from the Washington Commanders to be the new head coach, former Stanford quarterback. Cameron Grant, 5 to shoot. Grant doesn't see it, and Abuko Corey launches, and that is a shot clock violation. Another brilliant defensive sequence from Duke.
I mean, you've got to have awareness of that shot clock. I mean, I think he had a look at the rim if he had known how much time was on the clock. And it has, other than brief moments, a couple of stretches, this has been a half that has been dominated by the Blue Devils.
Stanford 29% shooting and 12 turnovers. And Duke has matched their largest lead. They're on a 6-0 run. And a strong close to half number 1. Cameron Boozer into the lane. Leans in and scores again. Ryan Agarwal from beyond midcourt. And that'll take us to halftime. The first 20 minutes, it's been all Duke. They have suffocated Stanford.
They really have. And it's been led by Boozer doing just a little bit of everything on the floor. Again, the poise. Boozer with 20 and a struggle for Okori.
20 minutes from number 6 Duke at Maples Pavilion as they lead the Stanford Cardinal 35-19. Getting ready to start the second half, along with Austin Crozier and our ESPN crew, Roxy Bernstein with you. Boy, that was a great 20 minutes for Duke. Austin, especially in the defensive end. But Cameron Boozer just doing whatever he wants to do.
Absolutely. We talked to John Shiner in practice yesterday. His biggest want for this team is 40 minutes of consistency at the defensive end. I think this is one of their best defensive halves of the entire season. You hold your opponent to 29% shooting, 23% from the three-point line, but more importantly, 15 turnovers and just 19 points. That, I think, is the difference maker between a team that is kind of in the conversation that could compete for a national championship and a team that you really almost expect that it could happen. That has been the question mark. They're showing what they are capable of defensively. Truly impressed.
And Stanford is a team that doesn't turn the ball over. Yeah. Kyle Smith, the nerd ball that they played here on the farm, they average under 11 turnovers per game. They had 12 in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just not the team that we have seen over the last, really, 2 weeks of the season. And again, I think it shows what Duke is capable of, the length, the size that they have defensively when they are really locked in, and the importance of Okori to this team. And when he is kind of taken out of the game by being double-teamed every time he's on the floor, does the Stanford Cardinal have the firepower in other places to make teams pay for double-teaming?
Danny Keeler, 5 to shoot. Down low to Oscar Hielte, who gets inside. First points for the freshman from Belgium.
I really like Hielte, just a freshman. I think he really is coming into his own throughout the course of the season. He's a big, strong, long player, very good rebounder and defender. I think you will see his numbers continue to improve over his career.
The kick out, Caleb Foster from deep. Missing a 3, up over everybody. Cameron Boozer, the offensive rebound. And then a foul in Hielte with a strong hit on Patrick Kungba, who's still down on the floor. think Andrew Luck down to our left might take notice of that hit by Heelte. First whistled against the Stanford big man, and Gumba's still down.
Just kind of inadvertent contact, really. Nothing there by Heelte. Guys scrambling for the ball, and Gumba getting the worst of it. Oh, he got him in the elbow. Look to the head. It didn't look, again, intentional. Just two players. Heelte kind of raised that arm at the last second, or turned his shoulder more to protect himself from Gumba coming at him.
They're going to take a look to see if it warrants more than just the common foul on Oscar Heelte. So it's a coach's appeal. So this is a coach's appeal for an upgrade to the call. And which means if they are incorrect, it'll cost Duke a timeout.
Yeah, and
we have a common foul on Stanford 15. Review appeal for possible upgrade.
There you go, the explanation from Bill Covington Jr. They'll review it. 14-point Duke lead early in the second half. 53 seconds into the second half, and this foul on Oscar Heelte has been upgraded. It is a flagrant one, which means
we upgrade the common foul on white 15 to a flagrant one foul. So we have two shots, big ball on the end line.
So after the appeal from John Shire, it has been determined the flagrant one, and they did deem the contact to be excessive by Heelte. It'll be two shots for Patrick Gumba, and it'll be a Duke basketball because of the flagrant one. It was an appeal which is different than a challenge. But it still, had they been unsuccessful, would have cost Duke a timeout. But they were successful, which means they still have a challenge. In fact, if they challenge and are correct, they still have another one after that because it was an appeal and not a challenge.
And I think that the officials got that right. When I watched it in real time, it looked as though Heelte had just kind of turned his body to protect himself. But he did kind of lead with that elbow, and a lot of contact on Gumba.
Lob off the inbound, the drop off, and Gumba denied at the rim by Oscar Heelte, who leads Stanford in block shots. And on the floor, Boozer diving for it, comes away with it. The lob to Gumba.
Unbelievable by Boozer. Just the lob pass initially to Gumba. Now your star player gets on the floor for a loose ball and gets an assist. Or excuse me, he kicks it out.
He got the hockey assist, the secondary.
Sitting on the floor, just a great play and showing that your best player is not above getting dirty and on the floor for a loose ball.
Third foul on Patrick Gumba off the ball. But the largest lead for Duke early in the second half.
But again, just the pass there. Not many people are going to do that. And then your star player getting on the ground, getting dirty, the awareness to get rid of it. And Duke, great possession there.
The basketball IQ for Cameron Boozer is off the charts.
It really is. I mean, it is. I really think that is the thing that sets him apart from most freshmen. You know, I think obviously his name has been out there in the prep circuit for a long time. The guy's probably been double teamed since he's 8 years old, and he just makes the right decision every time he's on the floor.
Benny Keeler. Shot clock down to 5 for the Cardinal. Abuka Okori in the lane. Off-balance shot blocked by Dame Sarr. And here comes Duke and Sarr pushing. Caleb Foster will back it out. Gathering and the foul on A.J. Rahosi, and Cameron Boozer will head to the strike.
And again, it's just matchups. I mean, Rahosi maybe has the size to match up with a guy like Boozer, but he doesn't have the foot speed. You know, so Boozer just recognizes that, puts his shoulder down. The weak side help is a little late getting across, and Rahosi no choice but to foul Boozer.
Boozer 1 for 2 at the line, and he hits the free throw, and now Boozer with 21 with 11 rebounds, the top 5 draft prospects. And right now, Boozer third on that list.
Yeah, it's a good year to have a top 5 pick.
If you're the Washington Wizards and you're in danger, of losing that pick, you want to make sure you're in the bottom four.
Yeah, well, my Indiana Pacers, without Halliburton, it's been a rough year. It'd be a nice pickup to get one of those guys.
Abuko Okori, that pass deflected out. Duke has just about doubled up the Cardinal. A.J. Rahosi. The shot clock winding down, flips it up, went and go to get it again. And then has a shot blocked, and it's out of bounds. Stanford ball.
I mean, it's just, again, you've got Gumba at 6'11", Boozer at 6'9", Sarr 6'8" with the length that he has. You know, you want to tell a guy you get a ball under the basket, you kind of chin it and you go up strong. But against those trees, better course action might be to just kick it out and get another look.
Ball comes in, Oscar Healte. Stanford held at 19 points by Duke in the first half. The second fewest they have scored in any half this season. The other was against Notre Dame when they scored just 40 for the game. They had a 17-point half. And a turnover by the Cardinal. The step back by Isaiah Evans. And the rebound tipped to Abuko Okori, who pushes.
I mean, they're just too loading to the ball every time Okori's got it. There's someone on him, there's someone waiting for him, and really just nowhere to go.
Drop step, A.J. Rahosi, the reverse layup.
Quick move by Rahosi, I like it on the perimeter. He's gotten a couple of offensive boards, a couple of duck-ins and easy baskets.
And Rahosi, an interesting story where he began his college career as a walk-on for Kyle Smith at Washington State. As driving the lane, the layup missed by Isaiah Evans, and Stanford has numbers if they push it. Abuko Okori finds Benny Gieler. Had a good look at a three, and the rebound, Cameron Boozer.
And those are just the shots that have been falling for Stanford. You know, again, Okori picks up the ball. The defender swings to him, leaves Gieler wide open. Gieler has made that shot the last couple of games, and tonight the other guys for Stanford just can't get shots to fall.
Back door, down the lane, Isaiah Evans.
Rahosi just got caught watching the ball. He's got to come across on that weak side as Evans cuts. He could have came across a little bit late in a game for Stanford in which really on both ends of the ball it has not been what we are used to seeing here. The backdoor cut, Rahosi stays on the ball side, and an easy dunk. Defensively, not much of a defensive presence by the Cardinal.
Just to finish the story on Rahosi, he left Washington State, went to Division III. Claremont Mudd Scripps College as Rahosi on the offensive glass. And back in by A.J. Rahosi. Last year was a second-team Division III All-American and a first-team academic All-American. And then transferring to play for Kyle Smith again, the grad transfer to Stanford.
Well, I think that's something that you never heard of 10, 20 years ago. A D2, D3 guy moving up to D1.
Backdoor the lay-in, Caden Boozer for Duke.
And you're seeing that more, you know, where everyone is starting wherever they can get an opportunity to play, and everyone is now recruiting the lower levels, and I think you're going to continue to see more of it.
Ryan Agarwal fires. Three. First points for Agarwal coming off that career-high 20 against North Carolina, where he made 6 threes against the Tar Heels. Caden Boozer drives, off balance, blocked by Abuko Okori, and then tripped is Ryan Agarwal. Second foul on Caden Boozer. 15 minutes left. Duke up 16, trying to stay perfect on the road.
Dad was a heck of a player. You know, just a scorer, strong, physical. You know, a little bit different body type for Cam Boozer. A little longer.
Abuko Okori finds an open Cameron Grant, missed the three, and a foul going for the rebound on Duke. And it's on Nicholas Hamenia.
You talk about Boozer, you know, I feel like we've been hearing about this guy for 3 years. You know, everything on the prep level, the hype about where he would end up going to school. And it's, you know, it's not often that players with that type of hype meet it And I think in a lot of ways he's exceeded it. 58% from the field on the season. That's remarkable with the defensive presence he faces every night.
Okori gets free. Too strong on the three. And there is another rebound. Cameron Boozer grabs his 13th.
Yeah, when we watched Boozer in practice yesterday, it was just impressive to see your best player leading all the drills, right? Having that type of energy that carries over. It's clearly a great practice leading up to this game, and I think what you see from Boozer in the games, he doesn't just turn it on. He does it in practice as well.
Out of the double team, and it's out of bounds. Last touch by Stanford. 4.8 on the timer for Duke. It makes it easier for Jon Scheyer and the staff when your best player is among your hardest workers.
Yeah, it is hard to win at any level when your best player doesn't bring it in practice, doesn't set that tone, you don't have that level of accountability, and that is a big reason why this team is as good as they are.
Lob off the inbound at the rim. Malik Brown with the bucket.
Just too easy. The weak side for Stanford has got to be in the paint on that. It's a hard pass to make to the opposite side baseline. Have the defender down low, not allowing that lob.
Buko Okori. And a reach-in foul. That's the third on Caleb Foster. No, they're not calling it on Foster. It's on Malik Brown, his second.
And again, Dame Sarr is on the sideline right now, but that length at 6'8" has been so hard for Okori to get around him. Now he has the smaller defender in Caleb Foster, so he's making a little bit of a point of emphasis to get around him more and get into the paint with a smaller defender on him.
And the foul on the perimeter, the second on Nicholas Hamenya.
We talked to Jon Scheyer about Hamenya, you know, that he really likes his game. Things have been a little bit up and down for him in terms of making his shots, but really thinks he could be a player for him down the stretch that plays a bigger role as he continues to get more comfortable in his freshman year.
McDonald's All-American, freshman from Harvard-Westlake down in Southern California. As Ryan Agarwal off balance, A.J. Rahosi fouled on the offensive glass.
Rahosi, a little bit of a bright spot here for Kyle Smith's team in the second half, really bringing the energy, not quitting, even though his team is down 18.
Third on Malik Brown. Team foul number 6 on Duke already in the second half. Cameron Grant off the inbound, short on the three. And the rebound grabbed by Duke. Blue Devils, who are 5-0 this season on the road. In fact, they've won 8 consecutive true road games, dating back to last season. Deflected out by Buko Okori. Duke coming into today, tied with Clemson atop the ACC. 5-0. And Duke taking on a Stanford team that's 3-2, a surprising start for the Cardinal, considering the split they had against Virginia and Virginia Tech last weekend and beating North Carolina. In fact, a rough week for the Tar Heels here in the Bay, getting swept by Stanford and Cal. The lay-in, Patrick Gungba.
What a pass by Boozer. Gungba made himself available, knowing that Boozer would find him on time and on target. But for the Cardinal, in those 3 wins, Okori has scored. He's averaging 30 points a game. In the 2 losses, he's averaging 11 and a half. Yeah, that's just a big storyline of, and not necessarily though Okori has had bad games then or in this game. It's just been defensively teams completely taking him out of the game and nowhere else really to go offensively. And that has been the storyline for this game as well.
Unfortunately for Kyle Smith, especially with the injury to Chisholm Akpara, and Stanford hoping to get it back, but their options are limited. Akpara is a guy who's not afraid to take a big shot or make a play offensively. A veteran, a senior transfer from Harvard. Yeah. And without him, and he's a guy that's willing to create, not just for himself, but for others.
Yeah, Kyle Smith, he pointed out he was really the only other guy on the roster that can create his own shot, beat a defender off of the dribble, get into the paint on the roster. And unfortunately, in a league where everyone scouts everything, you know, people are going to watch this game against Stanford. How did Duke have so much success, and will look to repeat it as Gungba the strong move down low.
Got mugged in the key.
Yeah.
And Gungbo will head to the line. There is Chisamak Para, who missed the game against Carolina and was injured against Virginia last weekend.
But again, it's the general storyline of how much can you expect from Okori, and you can't have him play hero ball every game, right? It is the other guys, and Kyle Smith knows this. But it's other guys stepping up, finding other ways to find scoring. When Okori, again, I'm not gonna say he is struggling or having a bad game, even though you look at the stats and they might indicate otherwise. It's just a team completely selling out to stop you and doing anything to make the team pay for doing that.
Gungbo the second Blue Devil in double figures, now at 10. And the largest lead for Duke. And they have dominated this game from the opening tip. First appearance for Jalen Thompson off the bench for Kyle Smith and Stanford. Aiden Kamen tries to turn the corner off balance the flip, and the first points for Aiden Kamen.
I liked it. He looked like he was going to a dribble handoff to the corner. Just made a quick move to the inside. Gumba not ready for it, and a strong finish by Kamen.
Cameron Boozer leans in. Got his own miss. Had his shot blocked, knocked away by Thompson. Stanford comes away with it. 4 on 3 for the Cardinal. Jeremy Dent-Smith, bumped, +1.
That's exactly what the Cardinal need. A great defensive play on one end leads to a fast break going the other way, and the Cardinal showing some life. Deep hole, down 18. All season for Stanford has been the play of Okori. Duke defensively making it so hard on him. Dame Sarr, 6'8", keeping him in front of him. You got the double team with Gumba at 6'11", nowhere to go, forces the turnover. Again, Sarr, 6'8", stays in front of 6'2", making difficult shots for Okori all night. Now the smaller defender in Foster, Okori gets around him, and the help, the double team, nowhere for Okori to go. And it has been a long night for the star player, and Dame Sarr, only 3 points in this game, but I think you can argue he's right up there for MVP of the night with Cam Boozer, with the way that he has forced Okori into difficult shots.
One thing I will say with Okori, he was cramping up at the end of the Carolina game Wednesday night. Not sure if it's affecting him. I did see him with the Theragun on his calf.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you're asking really everything of him, and he has delivered on so many games in the last 7. As Boozer, again, I mean, it's just too easy. It's just too much of a size difference there.
23 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 steals for Cameron Boozer. Another double-double. And for Boozer, that is his 9th double-double, his 11th 20-point game. It's also his 6th double-double when he scored at least 20 points.
And it looks kind of casual, right? Like, it doesn't look like, this is this amazing game for him as Dent-Smith knocks down the three-pointer. He just makes it look easy.
11 for Jeremy Dent-Smith.
And then Boozer's 10 of 15. 60, it's just incredible the efficiency that he plays with.
Isaiah Evans answers with a 3. Just the second made 3 for Duke in the game. Aiden Kamen slips by Boozer. Down the lane, Kamen can't bank it in. Jalen Thompson trying to keep it alive for Stanford. Last touch by the Cardinal.
I find that at every level of basketball, high school, college, NBA, 20 points is this kind of magic number where guys start taking shots that maybe they shouldn't. They gamble for a ball defensively where maybe they shouldn't. The referees maybe call the game a little bit differently. Duke is there now, right? So can they really put their foot on the necks of Stanford and put this game away to a level that maybe it is already, but that's been the question mark with them.
Slipping to the bucket. This step through and a foul will send Patrick Gungba to the line. And 2 more free throws.
And when I say that, I think I'm looking for quality shots, right? Not just looking at it like, hey, we're up 20 points. I'm open. Maybe this is an okay shot, as opposed to working the offense and getting a good shot defensively. Locking in, keeping the guy in front of you, as opposed to maybe reaching for a steal that would get you a dunk easily in transition.
Rattles out for Gungba, the sophomore. He's now 4 for 5 in the line. Foul was on Jalen Thompson. Duke just 9 for 14 from the line in this one. Stanford's only shot 4 free throws for the game. Back to a 20-point lead. Jeremy Dent-Smith on the move.
It's almost like the offense is a little easier with their Corey out of the game because there's no double teaming. You know, you're just kind of playing straight up basketball, and maybe you don't have the same talent with Okori on the floor, but you're not facing all of the double teaming.
Isaiah Evans. Loose ball picked up. Who else? Cameron Boozer now 25. Kamen gets inside, then missed the layup, and the rebound tip free and ground by Nicholas Hamenia for Duke. Boy, right at the rim.
Nothing has come easy for Stanford, and now you get a layup, a really good look at it, and you just shoot it over the rim. Nothing going right.
Step back from Boozer. 3! They're going to say a 2 for now.
I think that was the right call. I think the toe was on the line, but again, it doesn't force anything. When the shot's there, he takes it. When it's not, he makes the pass.
Jeremy Dent-Smith launching a 3. 16 for Dent-Smith, the only Cardinal in double digits. Stanford now going to a zone, trying anything to slow down Cameron Boozer. Caleb Foster down the lane. And the offensive rebound, and Patrick Gungba is fouled. It is all Duke on the farm. 19-point lead, and Cameron Boozer, was it a 2 or 3? I'm going 3. Duke 11 the game, a complete breakdown. Coach and player interviews. Miami, Indiana, Monday night. As Patrick Gungba at the line. One more coming, and during the timeout, they reviewed that shot by Boozer. It was indeed changed to a 3. As Gungba hits both. Duke has matched their largest lead. It's crazy. Stanford's made 5 of their last 7 shots from the floor, yet they can't gain any traction.
It's just been one of those nights. Duke has an answer for everything. Another forced turnover. Dent-Smith with the careless pass. And this was, I think, what everyone is kind of waiting to see with Duke. Right? And listen, they only have 1 loss in the season. They are flying high. But could they play at this level defensively for 40 minutes? And they have done that. And I think that will be a storyline on how good this team can be.
And the lay-in by Malik Brown. You know, John Shire's been searching for a complete 40-minute game.
Especially on the defensive end.
And this is as good as they've played at that end of the floor. Aiden Kamen slides in, missed the layup, but he's fouled. And you brought up the Louisville game, for example, Austin, where they played 20 minutes of fantastic defense.
Yeah. And that was a game where Duke really didn't bring it in the first half of the game, and they outscored Louisville, again, on the road, 40-20. Now, 40 points is a lot, but that's kind of on par with what we are accustomed to from the Duke Blue Devils. I think it's the 20 points defensively. And I asked John Shire in practice yesterday if he thought that was the best that they had played defensively, and he did. And do you ever remind your team, hey, what we did against Louisville, that is what we are trying to do? And I think that that's the type of effort that you have seen here in this game for 34 minutes.
1 for 2, 8, Cameron. At Stanford, just 6 for 20 from 3 in the game. Coming off the three-point barrage they threw at the Tar Heels, where they made 16 for 28. And their 95-90 win against North Carolina here Wednesday night.
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable that the team that we are watching in front of us had 95 their last game.
The steal and lane, Abuka Okori.
Okori's not going to quit. Great job getting into the passing lanes. Duke a little careless, just passing the ball on the perimeter.
Boozer leans in, draws the foul on Oscar Hilte.
Again, it's the size and the quickness. You know, he knows he's got a quicker first step than Hilte. He gets the ball in the middle of that zone. Quick first step, draws another foul.
2 for 4 at the line for Cameron Boozer. The gymnastics season's underway, and our first ACC network meet Sunday afternoon is number 13 Stanford and number 11 North Carolina from Carmichael Arena, Chapel Hill. Coverage begins 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, and it's also available on the ESPN app. More for Boozer here. And he missed. That's the only thing that hasn't worked for him in this one. Foul shooting.
That would have given him 30 if he made both of those. Something tells me he's going to get it.
Way to put yourself out there. Okori, and that 3 challenge. Great defense by Dame Sarr.
Again, that's 6'8" length. Okori at 6'2". He's going to have quickness over a lot of guys, but the length of Sarr, he can space Okori a little bit and still contest the shot.
Second on Ryan Agarwal.
Look at Sarr, just fights across that pick, and again, that length. Okori created the space that he wants to, and on most nights, that's enough space to get off a good shot. But Sarr knows that he has the ability to contest the shot and take up that ground.
Elite defender, Dame Sarr. As Evans hits both. Duke will head home. They got Wake Forest coming up next Saturday. And also just one game for Stanford this upcoming week. The rivalry game, they'll take on Cal right here next Saturday evening. The ball kicked by Dame Sarr. But the first visit for Duke to Maples Pavilion, the 5th all-time meeting. They played last year at Cameron Indoor, and Duke trounced Stanford. Jeremy Dent-Smith missing from the corner, and the rebound Caden Boozer for Duke. Last year in that game, Duke shot 63%, made 14 threes, 106-70 as Tyrese Proctor led 5 Blue Devils in double digits with 23. Cooper Flagg, by the way, at 19. Not as high scoring, but just as dominant Duke here on the other side of the country today.
I mean, they just have done everything that they needed to. You know, 35 points in the first half is definitely under their average, but they shot 51% from the field.
But they held Stanford at 19.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing what they had to do. This is a very mature game that we are seeing from Duke. They are playing, within the game plan. You haven't seen a lot of guys going one-on-one because they've got the big lead. defensively, the game plan has been followed perfectly. If you're John Shire, I don't know if you have any criticisms defensively if you watch the film.
Stanford 36%. 6 of 22 from 3 as that one crawls in, and Boozer leads with 30. 30 points, 14 rebounds for Cameron Boozer.
7 at the offensive end. I mean, that was another storyline that's gone a little bit under the radar, is Duke just dominating the boards.
Another Stanford turnover, that's 17. Duke went on that run over at Berkeley late in the first half on Wednesday. 13-0 run. They trailed for a good chunk of that first half. As the step back rattles in for Isaiah Evans. And then in the second half, they just stepped up the defense. They held Cal to just 26 points, the lowest in a half for Cal this year. And also they held the Golden Bears to just 56 points for the game, which is the lowest they've scored. And that defensive effort continuing here on the farm this afternoon.
I mean, with 4 minutes left to go in the game, Stanford still doesn't have half as many points as they did in their last game against Carolina, where they scored 95. So,
and they averaged 78 a game.
Yeah.
But at least they have more than they scored against Notre Dame, where they had just 40 in the game against the Fighting Irish. That's all Duke on the farm.
That's a stretch to find a positive, Roxy.
Silver linings, Austin. And certainly you pay attention to the offense, but as a team, the defense for Duke is the story, as they have just suffocated Stanford. 17 Cardinal turnovers, tied for the second most in the game this season, and just 35% shooting for the Cardinals.
Again, John Shire and his staff, they had a game plan, and up to the players to execute it, and it was flawless.
First appearance for Darren Harris of the afternoon, or early evening on the farm, primetime on the East Coast. Kane Boozer, desperation shot, why not? Duke by 30.
You are really ugly.
Benny Keeler tries to get inside. The drop off, A.J. Rahosi fouled at the rim. And 2 free throws for Rahosi. Well, I guess if Cameron Boozer's not getting it, Kate is.
And you can just see that there is no quit from Duke. Corey brought the ball across the court. Immediately 2 defenders come and get the ball out of his hands, forcing other people to beat you. Rahosi really been effective here in the second half. Been one of the more consistent contributors.
Malik Brown is fouled out. And first appearance for Cameron Sheffield, the senior from Alpharetta, Georgia, the transfer from Rice. And also the first appearance for Jack Scott, the Princeton transfer for Duke. Nabuko Corey leaves. His ball game might be done with 9 points. The second fewest in a game as the free throw spins out for A.J. Rahosi. And as good as he's played in the second half, the foul line continues to be a struggle for him. 0 for 2 in this one, and 32% on the year.
And unfortunately, the storyline for Corey, 3 conference wins, he's averaging 30 points a game. 3 conference losses, he's averaging 10. And that's going to be something that they're going to have to deal with all year. And kind of back to the drawing board, finding different ways to get him the ball.
The step through, and a block is called. The foul is on Jeremy Dent-Smith. And Darren Harris will go to the line. Kyle Smith, look, the margin for error, especially in a game like this against Duke, but the margin for error is super thin.
It is. And
it is razor thin today. And if Okori's not scoring, Austin, Stanford has real problems.
Yeah, and maybe we're being a little hard on Stanford, right? I mean, this Duke team is a national championship contender. They have 1 loss on the entire season. They have McDonald's All-Americans all over the place. They have length and size that most teams across the country do not have. as you go through conference play, right? They've already played, right? They played Carolina, they played Duke, they played Virginia. Most teams don't have this size and length, and you're not going to have the same level of problems against most teams that you do it against Duke. That is what makes them special.
10 straight points for Duke. Here is Dent Smith down the lane. And Jeremy Dent Smith with a strong move.
He's coming off of his career high against Carolina, 20 points, knocking down shots everywhere on the court in that game.
The transfer from Cal State Dominguez Hills, a Division II All-American and 2-time D2 All-American, Dent Smith. As across the key, now Dent Smith fouls Nicholas Hamenia.
Again, I feel like we talked about it a lot. You see the graphic with the defense and what they have allowed in this two-game trip. 56 versus Cal, 46 here, 37 in both of the games. I mean, that is just elite defense from a team that I really think that has been the question mark. You know, can they do that night in and night out? And they certainly came on this trip with a point of emphasis on the defensive end, and John Shire has got to get on that plane, headed home happy with the way his team played on that end of the ball.
And it was clear yesterday at practice for Duke. That was the point of emphasis, was defense and making it uncomfortable for Ibuka Okori.
And I think he just knows his team, right? And he knows what they're capable of, and he's just not seeing it on that end. And they still find ways to win because of the offense that they have, the star power of a guy like Boozer, the rebounding that they have on any given night. But every team, every coach, regardless of the talent, right, you're trying to hit that max potential. How good can we be? How far can we go? And he wants to see it consistently, and he did on this trip.
Step back by Benny Geeler, the long two, and Geeler with his first points of the ball game. Seconds to go. Hamenia fouled, counted, and one for Nicholas Hamenia. Everything going Duke's way today.
And I like that from Hamenia, right? I mean, you've got to make the most of your minutes. Hamenia's minutes, you know, in big parts of games has really been up and down. He struggled with shot selection at times, shot making at other times, kind of the natural ebbs and flows of being a freshman playing at this level. And just a great drive showing the athleticism that he has. We talked to John Shire. He really likes Hamenia in his play. And wouldn't be surprised if his role increases as you go further in this season.
Dent Smith lost the rebound, last touch by Duke. And it's a Stanford ball on the baseline. Coming up next for these teams, we alluded to it, Duke's got Wake Forest coming up next Saturday. And then you got a rematch of Louisville and that showdown over at Chapel Hill coming up February 7th with Carolina. And Carolina's heading home licking their wounds after getting swept by Stanford and Cal. 10th team foul, 2 shots for Benny Geeler. 93% from the line, nearly automatic for the senior, the former walk-on Geeler. And one more for Benny Geeler. Thursday night, ACC Network Women's Basketball doubleheader. Hannah Hidalgo at number 23, Notre Dame, hosting Miami at 6. Then the Tar Heels battle against Georgia Tech. Another great night of hoops coming up Thursday. Women's doubleheader, Notre Dame, Miami, 6 Eastern, followed by Carolina and Georgia Tech. And an offensive foul. Illegal screen. Fourth on Caden Boozer, and coming up for Kyle Smith, that showdown with their rivals next week. They'll play Cal right here. Then the Florida two-step, heading to the U and Florida State, Tallahassee, and then coming home, the 2 big home games, Clemson and then Georgia Tech. Jeremy Dent-Smith on the move. Missing the three, A.J. Rahosi elevates for the rebound. Rahosi falling down, missed the putback and the rebound grabbed by Duke.
The Florida two-step for conference games will never sound right.
No. And it's not like Miami and Florida State are all that close either.
No.
Complete opposite ends of the state. Of course, Florida State up in the Panhandle and Miami down in South Florida.
Roxy, you're teaching me some geography. You're throwing it all in here, Roxy. I love it.
That's what you get at Stanford.
You just automatically get smarter, osmosis.
Well, you turned it down, so you could have found out the real way. Yes, shockingly that Austin Crozier had the chance to go to Stanford, but
it worked out for me at Providence College. My
but
Friars.
If you'd gone to Stanford, imagine what you could have done with your life.
I would have had that knowledge.
In 12 years in the NBA, come on. Tremendous performance, especially defensively, as Duke, with their sixth straight win, remains perfect in the ACC, 17-1, and Cameron Boozer dominant, 30 points, 14 rebounds, his third 30-point game.
I mean, you can't say enough about Duke and what they did, both ends of the ball. Boozer is a stud. We knew it coming in. Proved it here, and defensively, can't say enough of the game plan that Shire had.
Holding Abuko Koi to 9, Stanford 35%. Duke rolls at Maples as we roll into the studio, and Sam Ravitch.